Okay, so now we have finally entered into a homeless shelter, Rebecca's tent. First of all, I just want to give a huge shout out to Rebecca's tent. A huge, heartfelt, humble shout out to Rebecca's tent. Because you got to understand, it's volunteers that come, cook food, donate supplies, volunteer their time. It was such an amazing experience, especially coming from someone who had never experienced anything like this before and having to navigate by myself. It was, when I say, the most humbling thing I have ever experienced, but it was also very heartfelt to be able to go through Rebecca's tent's homeless sheltering. Because when I tell you, for one, there's not 20, 30, 40, 50 people that this homeless shelter has to accommodate at one time. It's very small. Like us, even as far as being seasonal in regards to the time, that it's not a year-round shelter. So they do have downtime throughout the year to, prepare for the next shelter season. But when I tell you, I had the best homeless experience going through Rebecca's tent's homeless sheltering process. I mean, it has rules and regulations, which I think that is so critical for such a service as far as accommodating women, homeless, no kids. And so you need some type of a responsibility. And so, yes, we had to wash dishes. We had to clean up behind ourselves, clean the bathrooms, make sure that our space is neat and nice and tidy. We had to be accountable. We had to sign in every day. But that really taught me in a different way about not just becoming an adult, but like I said initially, that accountability aspect. And so I had these moments where I couldn't understand what was going on in my life. I couldn't get it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't even write it out on a piece of paper if I wanted to. But I knew that there was something going on behind the scenes. I just couldn't quite get what it was in the midst of it. And I think that a lot of times that is where we tend to do one of two things, right? Where, our faith tends to waver. And then on the other hand, we start to over manipulate because we don't know what's going on. We can't really trust what's going on. And so we start to, like I said, over manipulate because it's like It's like, well, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try that. Oh, well, this isn't working, so maybe I should. And I had that phase that I was going through. And unfortunately, it's never a good phase. I'll just put it that way. And the only reason I say it's never a good phase, or it's never a good thing to actually allow yourself to go through that phase, is because it sort of contradicts everything. And I don't listen, I don't know about you. This ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm just speaking for me. But this would essentially contradict everything that we are learned and we are taught going through church. If you've been to church, if you've been to Sunday school, Bible study, then there is this word called faith. And you can take a leap of faith, you can walk in faith, but there has to be a sense of trust. You can't really, oh yeah, I trust, but then I'm gonna just do this because, like, I'm not getting no results. I don't really see, I don't understand. And so, because we want results, when we want results, we want the results that in our head we think are the best results for us. And so, so that's because we're humans. And that's obviously a natural thing to do, to want whatever your heart desire. But in hindsight, it just don't work that way. Unfortunately, let me just put that out there. It just don't work that way. It doesn't. It, as spoiled as we think we are, it just doesn't work that way. And so for me, up until this point, I just wasn't understanding what was going on, because it was just so much unraveling at one time. And as much as I was trying to maintain and hold on to just my sanity alone, I was like, just hold it together, keep it together now, because we don't want to lose it. We don't want to just lose it. And so we had a schedule. We had to wake up at 6. We had to be gone by 7. And we couldn't come back until that evening, 6 o'clock. What they say, she'd shower and shave and go to bed. And so we had something to eat. We were offered amenities as far as soap, toupees, feminine hygiene products. We so many amenities where, hey, if you had a car, you could have a gas card. You could have a bus card for the week. We had referral services to Dress for Success, in case we had like an interview or something like that. So we had so many amenities that we could utilize from, even just sitting down and talking with the director and just having that one-on-one therapy session and kind of, planning out, okay, what do you want to do? What would you like to accomplish? Things of that such, to kind of map out the week and, at least just kind of have some goals planned and lined up. And so the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, and I'm just trying to maintain it. And so I want to say a couple days before New Year's, this is 2019, we're going into 2020. I have an appointment at this is a psychologist, mental health appointment with a psychologist. This is my first time there. It's way far away. And so I make it to the appointment, and they, that intake form, that intake packet, not just a form, it's a packet, about 7-10 pages. They're asking all of these invasive questions, all of these redundant questions, these questions that, at 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm really not in the mood to be answering these kind of questions right now. You probably should have called me at 11, but 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and so I'm going through, and I'm trying to not. I'm just going through the paperwork because I already have to write. You see what I mean? Like, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. Like, you have like these 5 lines per question, so you want all of these answers, and I'm just getting so annoyed. I can feel myself getting annoyed, just because it's the writing for me. Like, we're not writing at this point, like, give me something to type. I could have typed it real easily and stuff like that, but trying to write all this right now is just irritating me. It's like really irritating me because you know how that 30-45 minute waiting room already got you irritated. So I'm like, and I can't remember what the question was. I can't remember what the question was. It wasn't even like a deep question. But I said something to the effect of, oh, well, I haven't blanked my throat yet, so I must be doing pretty good. Just in a sarcastic way. I'm like, well, I haven't blanked my throat yet, so I must be doing pretty good, right? Just because I'm not thinking the severity of the question or my answer. I put it that way. I wasn't thinking of the severity of my answer. And so I get to the bag. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. But I get to the bag, and she's talking. We're introducing ourselves. Like I said, this is my first time, and so I guess she like read it, and I can't remember if she brought it up or something like that. I feel like she may have brought it up, and then she was just like, hold on, give me a second, I'll be right back. And then somebody else had walked in, or I think maybe she had transferred me to somebody else's office, and it was kind of one of those, oh, so what did you mean by this? And I'm like, I just said how I felt. I'm like, I must be doing pretty good despite everything that I'm going through right now. I'm like, I must be doing pretty okay, considering what I'm having to like endure at the time. And so, just being as professional as she want to be, she was like, well, you can't leave. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? You're like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to let you leave under these circumstances. And we kind of, I don't want to say go into this back and forth, but I was very hesitant because I'm like, it ain't that serious now. I'm like, that's why I said it ain't that serious. I must be doing pretty good. And she was like, yeah, but yeah, we don't take sarcasm here. So that was my journey into, I can't think of the name of it, but it was a mental health facility. Just put it that way. I can't think of the name of it. Not off the top of my head. It's like one of those easy names, but I can't really think of it right now. But yep, I was ushered to a mental health facility. And when I tell you I slept for like 3 days, because remember, we had to be up at 6, we had to be gone by 7, and we had to be gone all day. And so to be able to like sleep for like 3 days straight was amazing. It was so refreshing. That's how I bought it in 2020. Just sleep. So refreshing. I felt so rejuvenated. And so I believe I was there for like 4 or 5 days, give or take. Food was delicious. Like I said, sleep was amazing. And then you kind of go through like these little mini programs throughout the day where they have like people come in and kind of talk about this specific mental health genre and this specific health mental genre, things of that such. And so it was very refreshing. It was the time of my life, if you ask me, because to be able to sleep for 3 days was you just never know how exhausted you are until you're able to get that ability to actually get rest. And so and the food, like I said, was out of this world, if you ask me. Well seasoned, you had options. Considering the fact that it was like, I don't want to say cafeteria food, but it was still cafeteria food, but it wasn't like that type of cafeteria food. It was just more so, like for us employees, things of that such. So I can't. If I run across the name of it, I'll probably have to shuffle through some paperwork or something like that. But I'll shout them out if I'm allowed to. I don't know. Is that against HIPAA law? Yeah. I mean, it is mine. But luckily, that's like one of those excuses where, if you're unaccounted for, then that's not like an issue. But you can't be staying the night over so and so and so and so house and then think, oh, I can pop back in, pop back out. I'm just trying to find a stopping point. I'm coming up on my 20-minute mark. And so I'm trying to find a stopping point. I believe that this is considered episode 5, if my counting is correct. If my counting is correct, I believe we're on episode 5. This would make episode 5. And so, for episode 6, I know I didn't do like a recap or anything like that. I'll probably do a recap on the next episode, which will be episode 6. But I'll probably end up talking about, like I said, the latter half of my stay at Rebecca's tent. Just in regards to how the transition was coming out of the shelter. Like once the season came to an end, shout out to C19, because when I tell you the blessing in disguise for the underdogs was superb. It definitely was. It definitely was, because we went from, I think we had like a hotel that we were sort of like removed out of the shelter, and we went to a hotel. Then I was referred to another transitional facility. And because I have epilepsy, I wasn't able to get a top bunk because they didn't have any more top bunks available. And so then I was transitioned to an extended stay. Shout out to Partnership for Community Action. They came back around once again. They came back around once again. That was the beauty of going through their system, and at the beginning phase, and seeing how, oh, well, she did ask for rental assistance, oh, and now she's homeless. So that was so amazing for them to come back. They helped me with my extended stay. I want to say that was that could have been for like June, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been for the whole entire, no, I think it was like May. Because then I had to transfer to another extended stay, because I was waiting for my paperwork for Section 8 to be approved. And so that's why I say the next part, which is part 6, I believe that's what I said, right? We'll get into that part. Like I said, the latter half of the Rebecca's Tent season, I would say. So
behind closed doors exactly how